Welcome back. Today we are going to carry on with our video series where we're showing you how to create some guitar parts and some really lush sounding guitar voicings. What I've done is I've recorded a part that I guess had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different approaches to playing a simple progression in D, F sharp minor, and E. What we're going to do now is let's cue the track so you can hear the parts for yourself, and then we'll carry on breaking down the parts in this video. We'll also have the link in the description below so you can go ahead and find the previous video in this series where we started with the original parts. Right, here we go. Let's roll that track, and afterwards we'll carry on breaking down the different parts. Alright, so that was the 4-2 voicings section, and you can see that it's happening. Then I let it ring. I play. I let it ring for some space. I play it. And I let it ring for some space. But now, as the band is picking up, I want to, do something more. I want to take it up a notch. And so what I did there is I used what's known as open triads, which simply looks like this. And all an open triad is, if you take a normal triad and you play the middle note an octave lower. A normal triad, or even like this, take the middle note, play it lower. And then a normal triad, take the middle note, play it lower. And now you get these open triads. Really awesome sounding voicings, open triads. And rhythmically, I played kind of a 16th note pattern I'm about to show you. And I also used the same hammer-ons for embellishments that I used earlier. So I did this. Alright, so basically I've got palm muting here and non-palm muting. So again, I'm contrasting like a muffled, tight palm muted sound together with an open ringing sound. So I'm playing the first 2 notes of my open triad, palm muting it, down, up, down, and then I'm going down, down for the higher 2 notes. So obviously I want to end up on that note, so I'm hammering onto it. And that's basically the usage of these open triads. And I think what I did is I played like a fill at the end of that. So it started off like this in D, F sharp minor, then E, that's kind of just a pentatonic scale. Because I'm in the key of A, so I'm using the pentatonic, the A major pentatonic scale to kind of do that going up and coming down. So the same thing as there's so many lines making use of that pentatonic scale. So that was the open triads with a little fill at the end. And then there was a build with the drums. And for that section, I played the following. All right, so that makes use of those 4/2 voicings for D, F sharp minor, and E. And my final version of E was an E5, which is a 4-note power chord on these strings. So it's frets 9, 9, 12, 12. That's voicing wise. D, F sharp minor, E, E5. And then I used a polyrhythmic strumming pattern. This is something I learned off one of the Steve Vai website many, many years ago. And he's a fan of like odd rhythms and polyrhythms and all that kind of stuff. But this is the one thing I took away from all those years back then. And it's simply playing down, up, down, 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 up. So it's a 16th note pattern that's grouped in threes. So that's why it's polyrhythm. It's a 16th note rhythm, but I'm grouping it in threes, which is why it's got this really cool sound. It sounds like this. Those are the guitar parts we looked at right there. Simply D, F sharp minor, E, and then an E5 with the polyrhythmic strumming pattern. Now after that drum build, it then went to kind of a high chorus, and the thing that naturally came to me over there was to go and use D add 9, and using that same chord over the F sharp, which would make that F sharp minor 7, and then going to this E, which is an E add 4. Now we've looked at those exact voicings in the previous video, so make sure to check those out and we'll link to them in the description. But in essence, it's simply this chord and this chord. So fret-wise, we've got 12 on the E, 10 on the B, and 11 on the G. You do that for the D add 9, as well as the F sharp minor 7. And then we went to the E add 4, which it basically means we leave our fingers on 10 and 12, and we just put the pinky on the 13th fret on the G. Rhythmically, I add another kind of a 16th note rhythm happening there. All right, now that last voicing I played, we call that a cluster voicing, when you have two notes right next to each other within the scale that you're actually playing and letting them ring against each other. So this causes a lot of tension. And then obviously I'm kind of cleaning it up a little bit by adding the 9th. So when you hear that over the low E, it doesn't quite sound as tense. But it might be a little bit tense for some people's taste. But I think, just as in life, you don't always have, everything's not moonshine and roses, as they say, and there's tense moments. So when you can have that tension in your music and resolve it, it's a great reflection of, the ups and downs of life. And I think people can really connect with that. And that's why, I think when you use tension, you're playing, and that's what makes it sound really cool and that people can relate to. So that's another story from another day, but these are the voicings, nice and simple. I'll play my picking pattern for you one more time. All right, and just for reference sake, let's just cue the part with the band where I play those same chords so you can hear what these tense voicings sound like when they're playing the right context with the full band. All right, and now for the final part, you'd think, all right, where can we go from there? We already kind of like, it sounds like from an intensity point of view that we're 10 already with the tension and the voicing and that kind of 60th note pattern and those high notes that are just kind of relentlessly being picked for that section. Well, we can then open things up with a syncopated 16th note pentatonic pattern using palm muting. So for that section, I played... Alright, so without all the delay and the reverb, all you're really hearing there is this. So if you look at the notes there, it's first of all the scale. Nothing to it, it's an A major pentatonic scale. So we have 14 on the B, 14, 16 on the G, 14 on the D. Those are my first four notes. Again. And then after that, which is 14, 16 on the G, 14 on the D, 14, 16 on the G. So that's my second part. Again. So my first part, my second part. First part, second part, played in time, slowly. And then I'm just coming down the scale and I'm adding in the G sharp there on the 13th fret. All right, so let me go ahead and throw the delays back on together with the reverb. You can hear what that sounds like. And that was really the final part. There was maybe one cycle of D, F sharp minor, and E where I just played. Just kind of some violin-esque swells, making use of the volume control, and just playing the notes of the chord as you would have done on the G string. So that's it. Those are the parts that I've broken down. So at a high level, what did we do? For the melody, we just played the simple part, but I tried to emulate the human voice through the use of vibrato, hammer-ons, pull-offs, and slides. Then we went to these 4/2 voicings, simply just the 4/2 voicings with hybrid picking. Two-note voicings with embellishments and hybrid picking. Then we did the open triads. With a bit of a fill at the end there, making use of the A minor pentatonic scale. Well, that was the E minor pentatonic scale in that instance because I was playing over the E chord. After that, we had the 4/2 voicings with the polyrhythmic strumming pattern. Then we had the add 9, the F sharp minor 7, and the E add 4. That part, and finally we ended on the bouncy pentatonic 16th note pattern, which was this. Those were all the parts, and now you can see I can take a simple worship song that literally just uses 3 chords in that instance, D, F sharp minor, and E. And when you know your guitar neck, you have the ability to play 2-note voicings, open note triads, or open triads with embellishments, 4/2 voicings, polyrhythmic patterns, add 9, add 4 type of chord voicings up the top here, really lush sounding voicings, and finally a very rhythmically driven 16th note pattern. So that's a lot of stuff we had to cover in a short amount of time. So hopefully you like that, and if you did, please let us know in the comment section below. And if you want to learn to play this style of modern worship guitar, where it's more of a creative musical approach rather than the typical blues and rock licks you might have learned if you come from that era, or the kind of cowboy chords if you come from an acoustic background. If you want to learn these kind of things to kind of be more creative in terms of using the whole neck as a palette of colors that you have at your disposal when it comes to being creative and really just expressing your voice and your worship, then this is exactly what we help people do, number 1 on this channel, and number 2 in a deeper way in our Worship Guitar Skills Academy. So with that said, in the description there's going to be a couple of links where you can find more information on additional training that we offer and really break down this style of playing in a step-by-step fashion. So should you want to check out more, there's both free and paid resources. You can go ahead and check that out in the description. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the channel because we also do live streams here every week where we go ahead and have a discussion, and we have open Q&A sections for people to ask questions. So there's a lot of stuff on offer here, and we'd love to serve you in your journey of becoming not only a better worship guitarist, but a better musician, and ultimately a better worshiper when you develop the right skills like that. Right guys, much love, and I'll see you in the next video.